Hey guys, it's Drea. Today it's time for another Face of the Day in review. So these are videos where I have already been wearing this makeup for many we and I'm going to tell you how it wore on my face. We're 2 beers in also, so this is going to be a fun one. It's after work and we went out after work for a couple of beers just to like kick off our boots for a while. I don't know, whatever. I've been wearing this for 7 hours now. I put on this makeup at 5:30. It's currently... Actually, it's not even 5 hours, it's 6 hours. 11:45. I've been wearing this for 6 hours. Okay, I knew this was going to be a little bit of a shorter day, so I decided that I was going to wear my CoverGirl Vitalist Healthy Elixir Foundation. This is, I think I talked about this recently, very recently, how I've been really liking this, but very sheared out, almost sheared out to the point where it's more like a tinted moisturizer in a way. And this foundation is pretty medium coverage anyway, so if you're gonna use a beauty blender, which I did, I used my Real Technique sponge. If you're gonna use a beauty blender and if you're gonna use a very small amount, you can really shear it out. So I really only used 1 pump. Yeah, I think I remember only using 1 pump. And I really just went over it many times with this beauty blender just to like really make sure it was smooth, take off any excess at all, because recently I've been feeling a little bit like, not like cake face, but I just don't like to go to work and then have my face look like foundation-y. Do you know what I mean? So I wanted my face to really look like skin today, and that's why I decided to wear this foundation. And I feel like that's really what I've accomplished. I know, because whenever I do these videos, it's always either late at night or after work or whatever. The lighting is not always the best. So that's the real downside of this video, is that you can't really see perfectly because of the studio lights. But I still do think that my skin looks pretty much like skin and not like weird foundation on my face after wearing it for this many hours. I did prime it with this. This is the Becca Velvet Blurring Primer. I've talked about this before on my channel. It is a really nice smoothing primer. It doesn't control oil at all, but it definitely fills in the pores. It's very light. It's so lightweight. One of the most lightweight primers I've ever experienced, and that's what I really like about it. So it doesn't add any heaviness to your face at all. It definitely does fill in the pores. Like I can see like those big pores here especially, they're all nice and filled in still, but it doesn't control oil at all. Also today I use this. This is the Peter Thomas Roth 24 Karat Gold Lift and Firm Prism Cream. This is basically a liquid highlighter. Like, I know they say you can use this in different ways, and I have used this as a primer before, but for the most part, it's not really, I don't know, it's not really usable like that. It's much more of just like a liquid highlighter, and that's how I've been using it actually for a long time. I've been wearing this under my foundation for probably the last 2 weeks or so. I've been wearing this usually underneath my highlight, and it just kind of gives us this base to like pop. Do you know what I mean? So it's not my only highlight, but it kind of gives my skin that dewy glow just in the areas that I actually want it to have, and I really only do apply it to the tops of my cheekbones, and I do really like it. I've used it before all over my face as a primer, and it does give you that real glow, but there's no way. I can't do that in the summer. I'm too oily for that. Also use my Rimmel Stay Matte Mattifying Loose Powder just to set everything, just to keep it on my face so it won't melt off. And it's pretty decent. Like, it does what it can. Do you know what I mean? Like, my oil is pretty heavy sometimes. Okay, I use my Anastasia Brow Wiz today because normally I'll use a brow pomade, but again, I knew it was going to be a little bit shorter of a day, and I feel like it's still there. Even the tail is still there, which doesn't always happen. You know, like a lot of the time that end of the tail will be gone by this point, so that's good. That's a good thing. Okay, I also use my Buxom, what's this called? I can never remember. Hold the Line Waterproof Eyeliner. It's not waterproof. And it's in the shade Call Me, which is just black. So every time I wear this, as soon as I put it on, it transfers down into my waterline. And I don't know how well you can see that, but I can see it. It's all down in the waterline. I only put it on my lash line, not even in my tight line, just lash line. And it always transfers in here, right in there. And that's been there all day, just from right here. But it's the only black one I have right now, so I'm using it. It's not my favorite for that reason. For the most part, it's fine, except for that transferring issue, and I can't find a way to solve it with that, so whatever. Okay, this is an interesting one. This is the Wet n Wild Petalette Quad. This is, I think, the first time I'm wearing it. And when I was applying this makeup, and by the way, I am now taking like video of myself when the makeup's first applied so you can see it, you know, how it originally looked on my face. When I first applied it, this shade here was very much more intense in the outer V. And even as I was applying it, I kept building it up and building it up and building it up over and over and over. And it just wouldn't stay built up. Like it always just looked more faded and faded over time, like just every couple of minutes, not even like a long period of time, just every minute I'd look back and I go, okay, I'm gonna build that up some more. And it would never stay as intense as when I started. And it's like, even now it's okay. It doesn't look terrible, but it's definitely not as intense as it was. So I have that in my outer V. This is actually a beautiful transition shade. It's actually a perfect cool tone mauve transition shade. Really like it. I have this one here under my brow bone and in my inner corner, and it didn't stay. It didn't really pop that much. I don't know. I don't really like how it ended up looking. And then I use this one here all over my lid, and it's still there, you know. It hasn't completely like melted away. There's no creasing or anything. And of course I primed today with MAC Painterly, but again, not as lilac-y purple as it shows in the pan, which is pretty disappointing. So overall, I'm not that in love with this quad. I definitely like the Rosé and the Air palette. I think the quality of that is way better than this. So I just can't see myself really using this much. And actually, I wanted to compare it to this, which is the LA Girl Ilex quad in Fantasize. I just talked about this recently in Underrated Products. It's basically the same color story. That's pretty much exactly the same color story. Brow bone, transition, outer V, and then this really is the only shade that's a little bit different. But for the most part, they're the same, and this is way better quality. This lasts so much better throughout the day. So I'm not in love with that Wet n Wild quad. I would not recommend it, actually. Also set my brows with the Benefit Gimme Brow Plus in shade 1. My favorite brow gel. I just like how it kind of gives me a little bit of highlights in my brows, makes them look a little bit more natural. Okay, I actually used for the first time today this. This is the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze Powder in medium, and I actually really liked it. Like, I don't feel like I'm overly bronzed. I don't feel like my bronzer is muddy in any way. I feel like it's very natural looking. Very nice. Very impressed, I gotta say, with this one. Okay, I'm wearing two highlighters. So I've always done this with this. This is the Laura Mercier Matte Highlight 01. This is the one that people say is very, like, subtle is the word. And you can see it's almost panned. Like, it's almost completely panned. There's just a little bit around the edges. And there's not much room for me to swatch, but it's right here. There's not much to it. It's super, super subtle. So whenever I use this, I like to use this down first and then put something on top of it. And that's exactly what I did today. And I put on top of it the Master Holographic Highlighter in Prismatic Highlighter, which is number 050. This is the one that's super sparkly and glittery. And you actually, like, look how, can you see how chunky this is? See how chunky that is? It's super sparkly and chunky. There, right here on my hand. It actually gives you a really nice wet look if you really buff it in. And see how, like, it looks like almost wet on my hand now? That's what I did. And I really like the effect. I think it actually looks really beautiful when you do that. It's not, it actually doesn't look like chunky glitter on your face. It just looks like really nice kind of wet dewiness, which I think is really pretty. Okay, I actually probably should have put this in my favorites for the month, but I'll do it next month because this is so impressive to me and nobody talks about this. This is the Stila Huge Extreme Lash Mascara. This one is shaped exactly like my favorite, the Too Faced Better Than Sex. So it's very similar, very, very similar, only this is very wet formula, which you know I love. And so much comes out on the wand. You got to be careful. Like, I would only ever do one coat because so much product comes out on this wand, but I love it. I feel like ever since I've been wearing this for the last 2 weeks, I don't miss fake lashes as much as I would normally. Like, I feel like it gives me so much volume. Now, that being said, I am wearing a half lash like I like to, as is my wont. But it's actually almost even a quarter lash. It's really only this much of my eyelash right here. Is a fake piece that I cut off an old pair of eyelashes, and that's just to give me that tiny extra volume, which I really, really like. But other than that, it's all this mascara, and I think it's amazing. It's now one of my new favorites. Like, truly, I love this mascara, and I will buy a full size. Actually, I would like to compare it to the Better Than Sex at one point in time. We'll see. We'll see if I'll buy them both at the same time. When I started this morning, I actually put on ColourPop Lippie Sticks in Lumiere, and that's what this looks like, which is just a really nice matte, deep, rosy shade. And then I just decided right now to put on something else. This is the Bite Beauty Matte Cream Lip Crayon in Pastille. And they're actually so very similar. So this is actually what I'm wearing at the moment, and Lumiere is what I started off the day with, which you'll see in when my makeup, like in the overlay, when I started off today. It's like one step lighter. It's so similar, so similar. And then I lined with the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in Pillow Talk. I'm trying to use this up. Like, look at how much I have left. I love this though. It's so good. It just like overlines your lips. And the only other thing to talk about is all-nighter. I set my face in all-nighter, and I feel like it always does such a good job. You know, like, of course my oil will come through, but still it's much better when I use all-nighter. So there you go. Lots of standout products. I don't talk about every product on my face just because that would make the video too long, but I like to talk about some of the best ones and some of the ones that aren't so great, just so you guys get a really good idea of what how stuff works throughout the day. So that's it for my face of the day in review. Definitely subscribe if you like this series. I do this every week, or I think I'm one day late this week. I think normally I post on a Friday, and this is going up on a Sunday. But anyways, I'm trying to do this basically once a week so that you guys always have a new kind of face of the day to look at. And I do post 5 to 6 videos a week now. I am on my game for you guys. I'm like super excited about YouTube lately, and just getting all my creative juices out. So definitely subscribe. I'd love to see you around in the future. That is it for today. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope you're speaking kindly to yourself. I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.